Welcome to another episode of ePodcast 5 Minutes. In this podcast, I want to tell everyone about my experience living in the countryside and how it changed me. Let's get started now. 1 year ago, I moved from the city to the countryside. Even though in one period of my life I loved the hustle and bustle of a big city, over the past few years I've come to prefer a quieter, more relaxed pace. And then I decided to swap the crowds and traffic for birdsongs and country walks. I sold almost everything I owned, quit our jobs, and broke the lease on my apartment. I moved to a little log cabin in the countryside outside of Jackson Hole, Wyoming. The cabin is the definition of simple living, small, rustic, and near the mountains. It's the kind of place where the stars come out at night, animals, moose, fox, and deer wander by, and the neighbors all know each other's names. I had left the stresses of city life behind to find the simple life. Surely life would be much simpler in the countryside. But I was in for a few surprises. I was both born and raised in big cities, and I knew nothing of country life. It's now been a year since I moved to my cabin, and I've learned so much, most of it completely unexpected. Initially, adjusting to the slower pace of rural life was challenging. While I desired a calmer lifestyle, I hadn't considered the practical aspects of it. For me, my new routine now included things like going to the grocery store only once a week, cooking dinner every night, spending more time outdoors, and overall having fewer busy days. This routine looked very different from my life back in Austin. At first, I struggled with the inconveniences of not having a nearby grocery store or the option of ordering takeout. I found it difficult to embrace less busy days, and often felt compelled to fill my free time. Moreover, when I imagined winters in my small house, I thought of cozy nights spent by the wood stove. I didn't think of all the work it would take to haul in the firewood to make those fires. Or I imagined happily picking ripe vegetables from my garden but had no idea of the work that it takes to grow them. Nevertheless, I adjusted to this change of pace quickly and worked to establish new routines. Some of those things that seemed inconvenient are my favorite parts of country life. For example, I look forward to cooking dinner as part of my nightly routine. Additionally, downsizing my belongings before moving to the cabin had unexpected benefits. Letting go of 90% of my possessions made me realize that I require far less than I thought. This mindset has helped me save money and maintain an uncluttered home by being intentional with my purchases. I quickly discovered when I arrived at the cabin that simple doesn't mean easy. There are new parts of my lifestyle that take hard work, but the lifestyle is absolutely worth it. After that, I'm much more used to the chores and adventures that come with country living. Especially after my first harsh winter, -20-degree temperatures and blizzards. Perhaps you can guess by now that the biggest surprise of moving to the country was that the simple life isn't as simple as you think. At least not in the ways that I assumed back in the city. While I now enjoy a slower pace, more time spent outdoors, and reduced stress compared to my urban life, simplicity doesn't come without its challenges. Yet, despite the surprises and the lessons learned along the way, moving to the countryside has been the best decision I've made. It has been a time of growth, new beginnings, and beautiful days. Simplifying my life has been more rewarding than I could have imagined. These are the things I have experienced over the past year when I moved to the countryside, and this new life brings a simple life for us. It looks like a lot of learning and discovering a new pace of life. Even though it's been full of surprises, it's also been much more rewarding than I expected. For you, what does the simple life mean to you? Have you ever tried to simplify your life and been surprised by the results?